Hey guys, so this morning what I'm kind of thinking about is about like waiting on people, waiting on things to change, waiting on a decision, just like waiting around, and how it's like a really big waste of time, and how this saying is so true, and it's almost like gives me chills because it's so true. And it's that if you don't have a plan for your life and for where you're going and with your goals and your purpose, then you are going to be a part of somebody else's plans. Like they're going to incorporate you in their plans, and they will be making the plans for you. And it's just about being aware of this, because as soon as you decide that you're not going to be waiting around on anyone, and that now is the time, and whatever way that applies to you, things start to change. And the way that I got reminded about this is basically, like, how do I say this in like a short way? My last relationship was amicable breakup, but at the same time it wasn't really an exact breakup. It wasn't like I'm breaking up with you completely over. It was more like an open-ended thing, because essentially the guy moved, and yeah, it's like we still remained in contact, this and that, but there was no formal breakup. So this extended to about a year in the full picture, but there was a certain point where a few months had passed where I was like, I gotta move on. So, for me, the relationship was over, even though there was no conversation. And, a year literally goes by. You know how much we can accomplish in a year? Like, imagine if I had waited on this guy. And the interesting thing is that, like, I saw him recently, and it's almost like he's a great guy. This isn't me shit talking him. I'm just saying, like, this goes to show how true that saying is, because he was genuinely in shock that I have started dating other people and that I've moved on with my life, that I've done this, I've done that. I have some plans for where I'm going after this period of time is over, my career. Came as a shock to him, especially that I was already seeing somebody else, and then how that's developing. And it's like, wow, if I didn't take it upon myself to move on, then I would have been on his timeline, and he hasn't, he wouldn't have come back for more than a year, and I would have just been sitting on my thumbs, not exploring what else is out there, when we know, even though we don't like to admit sometimes, how sensitive time can be for women when you have like a plan for wanting a family, and you have goals for yourself. So it just goes to show how we can't wait for other people. We cannot wait on other people. We have to stick to the plan that we're making for ourselves. And, when it's appropriate, put ourselves first, and like have the, courage to make those kinds of decisions. Because I would have really regretted waiting on this guy. And there's still no promise of any future with him. So I would have really just been like in the dark still. And I would have fooled myself into thinking that there isn't alternatives, that there's no other options, when there is, when the kind of relationship that I want, I feel like I'm getting closer to. So it was just a really sobering moment. And also it was I proved something to myself as well, because I kind of found my voice and I acted on what was best for me. So when you do things like that, internally your self-esteem gets higher, because you're showing yourself that you can trust yourself and that you have your own back and you're in your highest integrity. So moral of the story, waiting is not it. Don't overly be waiting on people, on things, and take the control back into your own hands. And especially when it comes to a plan for your life, make sure that you're living by your own plan for your life. Of course, there's God's plan. I'm not discounting that. But make sure that you have, goals, and you know what you would like your life to look like, and that you're heading toward that direction, and you're not just going with the flow of wherever the wind takes you, because you will be tangled in other people's dramas and desires and not your own.